Hey there, Photo Universe. Alright, so this video is about the new XTI that has just come out, but before we get there, picked up an Alienware 14, and I have to admit, now that's a computer, okay? Don't be scared if you're into PCs, don't be scared by the gaming moniker. That's what you want. You want a computer that really rocks, something that's really super stout and fast. And I love the fact that it's not thin and lightweight and crappy. Like Alienware is totally bucking the trend there. They're making this thing thick and solid, magnesium, aluminum, dig it. Just for comparison's sake, I've had a MacBook Pro, 13-inch aluminum, and you know what, after 3 or 4 years the software was obsolete. I didn't like it. I mean, it was good in at its time, but Windows 8 is there now. Everything works, the sleep function works, things like that. Now I know what you're all saying, you're going Windows 8, everybody hates Windows 8. Yeah, and I would hate Windows 8 too if I was locked into those apps and that start page. That sucks. Microsoft needs to understand, I got a PC, I got a laptop, it's not a tablet. I don't want my PC to act like my tablet. I want to run programs on my PC. I want a real PC. I want a real computer. Okay? And that's why everybody hates Windows 8. Well, what you do there is get yourself the shell so that you still have the start page in the corner and boot directly to the desktop. Screw that apps Metro ridiculous interface. So if you do that, Windows 8.1 is great. I really enjoy it. Okay, having said that, Alienware, I gotta really recommend them. This is what I've been looking for a long time. They're expensive. Nah, not really. They're about the same price as Mac or Apple, maybe a little cheaper. But you're getting a lot more computer. There's a lot more. There's a lot more going on there. So, all right. So there's that. Now let's talk about this. This is a philosophical video because I don't have an XT-1 yet, the Fuji XT-1, and you know what? I'm not 100% sure I'm actually going to buy one. What? Ed's into those weather-sealed small, I hear y'all saying that. But let me tell you what's going on, all right? So the reason why is like, all right, you take this X100 or the X Pro 1, X100S, X Pro 1, and you've got the optical viewfinder, you got the hybrid optical EVF viewfinder. Cool. Most of the time I shoot these cameras with the optical viewfinder. I rarely shoot the X100S with the EVF or the X Pro 1. What's really cool about the X Pro 1 is that for focal lengths below 60, particularly those wonderful primes, the 23 and the new 56 that's coming out, the 3514, that optical viewfinder is really a trip. It's really enjoyable to shoot those primes with that optical viewfinder. It's like shooting a Leica, okay? So, having said that though, I put my 55 to 200 on there. Man, right away, love zooming out, love the hybrid viewfinder, because on the X Pro 1, you go straight to the hybrid viewfinder and now you've got the EVF and you can see what's going on with the longer focal lengths. Fantastic. Great system. Really cool. So, having said all that, I've got an XE2 and I enjoy that camera as well. Not quite as much as the X Pro 1 with the optical viewfinder, but I really enjoy the fact that this EVF is much better than the one in the X Pro 1. What I really, so the XTI, like, okay, this is not my K3, this is my old K5, but let's represent it as let's use this to represent the genre, okay? So with this camera, it's big, it's weather sealed, big compared to the Fuji, small compared to Canon, anything Canon and Nikon makes, except for that little teeny weeny Canon that they have that isn't weather sealed. But the optical viewfinder in this camera is wonderful, and the speed is wonderful. This is a professional tool. This is right now. This is bang, I'm taking pictures, okay? K3 more so, K5-2S definitely, K3 definitely, K5-2S more so, K5 not so much anymore. Never really was. It was a slow camera in its day even, compared to the Nikon and Canon equivalents. But having said, it's still a fantastic camera. But having said that, okay, so the optical viewfinder in this camera is wonderful. Now, the EVF in this camera, for what it is great, but it doesn't replace that optical viewfinder in the SLR. And what I really want in a Fuji is the EVF, the electronic viewfinder quality, and the autofocus that's in the XE2 with the optical hybrid finder, or I should say in the optical hybrid finder of the X Pro 1. So what I want is an X Pro 1S or X Pro 2. The XTI, although it's an extremely cool camera, there's no doubt about it. When I first saw it, I was like, wow, that's cool. That's what I've always wanted. But the more that I've thought about it, it's like, no, that's not what I've always wanted. What I want from the Fuji system, because I've already got an XT1. I'm sorry if I keep calling it XTI. It's just, anyway. I've already got what the XT1 does in my K3, and it does a better job of it. You know, I'm not sure how good the XT1 is going to be, but it's not going to be as fast as the K3. I'm pretty sure of that. And if it is, well, then that's a different story, but that is going to have to be proven to me. So what I'm saying is for the Fuji system, I don't want a K3 body with an EVF, or smaller K3 body with an electronic viewfinder. I don't, you know, very, very high tech, but so what? Okay, I've already got 100 choices that are a better choice because I get a really nice big optical viewfinder, which I like better. Okay, so the XT1 at first blush is like, wow, that's really cool, but the more you think about it, it's like, no, that's not really what I want. What I want is a really good hybrid viewfinder. I want the X Pro 1 to come up to the new level that Fuji's created with the XE2 X100S, right? The hybrid viewfinder in the X100S is lovely, and it's a pleasure to shoot with. So I want Fuji to progress. Like I'll tell you, the next Fuji I'm going to buy is the upgrade to the X Pro 1, whenever that comes out, whatever that is. Fuji says they're not going to upgrade the X Pro 1 right now. They're not going to come up with an X Pro 2. That's going to have to be a big leap in technology. Well, I'm not sure what the leap in technology is. I think the leap in technology to the XE2 viewfinder EVF would be a leap in technology, because that's kind of what's, and the phase autofocus in the XE2, because that's what's holding back the X Pro 1 right now, is when you shoot the XE2 and then you shoot an X Pro 1, it's like, wow, you know, I kind of wish the X Pro 1 it was as fast and handled like the XE2. So one other little side note, and there's been something that's been niggling me, and this is for the Fuji people if they ever watch this video, like they might. One other side note that I'd like to point out, which is really kind of interesting, the Q menu implementation, all right? And why I really like the Q menu, but I'll tell you what, there's a problem with it in the sense that, and this is why Pentax, and I keep coming back to Pentax, and as goofy as Pentax is and as goofy as Ricoh is, and a ridiculous pricing on that 1.4 teleconverter, 600 US bucks for a 1.4 teleconverter? Wow. Ricoh thinks that they're Hasselblad or something, but whatever. So you push the Q button on a Fuji and you come up with the Q choice and you go to the, oh, it's Photo Puppy. Yeah, so you push the Q button on a Fuji and up comes the Q menu and you go to what you want, right? Well, when you hit menu OK, it goes back to the original screen. Now, on a Pentax, when you're in your I'm in movie mode here. When you're in your display readout and you hit info and you get the set, which is pretty much what a Q menu is, and you go to the thing you want, right? And you push the OK button, you get the choices and you get to see what your choices are and you get to scroll through it. Cool. That's the way it should be. That's the way it ought to be. That's why I love Pentax. Intuitive, brilliant. This is something that's been bothering me with the Fujis ever since I started using them. You hit the Q button, you go to what you want, then you don't know what your choices are. You have to scroll through them. In other words, instead of hitting the OK button and then it taking you to that menu or those selections, you get to scroll through the choices. It's just not as user-friendly. So I don't know if Pentax has the patent on that or not. If they do, I understand. There's nothing Fuji could do except pay the royalties if they wanted to on that bit of programming. But that's why we love Pentax, okay? And that's why, you know, these other cameras are coming up to speed in terms of like making things better. But that's something Fuji could implement if they can, if there's not a copyright on that. So XT-1, yeah, really, really cool camera. Why would you spend the money on that when you could buy K3? Don't know. Don't know. The K3 is a better camera. Okay? You know, I get it. I get the fact that the XT-1 is mirrorless and all that, but so what? You know, why do I want a mirrorless camera that looks like and mimics a SLR? If I want that, I'll just buy an SLR. It's better anyway. Okay, so yeah. Now the whole rangefinder thing is a different story. Like the XE2 is a different story. That makes sense. You don't have this big SLR thing going on, right? You've got more of like, people think you've got a point and shoot here. You're getting that, you know, I get that. That's why this works. I'm not 100% sure I mean, I could be wrong. The XT-1 might sell like hotcakes. I think when people really think about it, they're going to be like, what's the point? Okay, get a K3 and you'll have a better camera. It'll be a better interface. It'll be a better viewfinder. So, or if you want an EVF, get an XE2. This is a brilliant camera. I know it's not weather sealed, etc. But you know, I mean, you know, it just seems to me that if you need that, if you need an XT-1, you'd probably be better off getting a K3. All right, the XE2 and the X100S and the X Pro 1, that's a different kettle of fish. It's a different camera. It's a different way of shooting. It's for shooting different things. The XT-1, I mean, you know, why? I don't get it. I mean, you know. So, okay, I think I made that point. Now, all this is subject to change. If the XT-1 comes out and autofocus is faster and better and continuous autofocus and the electronic viewfinder is better than the optical viewfinder in the K3, then it's all subject to revision, right? But for right now, you know, I'm thinking this is what my thinking is as of right now. And that may be helpful to some people, and that's why I'm throwing it out there. But this is what I'm thinking this is a point in time right now. Okay, this is what I'm thinking right now. So, all right, that's it with Photo Universe. If you're looking for a great PC, best PC I've ever seen and used, get an Alienware, fantastic. Really dig the speed on that. Great, you know, yeah, I know it's for gaming, play a few games here and there. They're really brilliant on this thing. But also, I mean, Blu-ray player, photo editing, it's like instantaneous. It's like you just think about it, bang, it's done. Movie editing, like bang, it's done. Fantastic. You know, they did a really sharp job on that, and I just love it. Fantastic, a lot of fun. All right, so XT-1, not sure, jury's out. I don't think I'm going to buy one. I really don't. It doesn't, you know, I thought I was kind of pumped for it, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, that's not what I want. I want an X Pro 1 S or X Pro 2. That's really kind of what I'm waiting for. I mean, I love the XE2, but I really want that optical hybrid viewfinder. So, all right, so that's it with Photo Universe, and that's where we're at on the XT-1. Initial thoughts and impressions of that release, and more videos coming, obviously, so stay tuned. Appreciate it. Thanks. Have a good one.